discussion will be revolving around revamping core engineering curriculum for Make in India and Aatmanirbhar Bharat, making the stream attractive for students. So there will be a few pointers which will be discussed in detail. That would be bridging the gap between education and industry needs, incorporating emerging technologies, faculty immersion and student internships, making engineering more attractive, industry academia partnership, and entrepreneurial focus. These are the few topics that our panel would be discussing. So, for this panel, I would like to call upon Professor T. Kishen Kumar Reddy, Vice Chancellor, JNTU Hyderabad, to please come on to the dais, please. Can we hear some applause on Shri S.N. Panigrahi, General Manager HR, National Thermal Power Plant, NTPC. Adding on to the list of the panels, thank you. Adding to the list, I would like to call upon Professor A. Pullaiah, Secretary, State Board of Technical Education and Training, Government of Telangana. Adding another panelist to this wonderful session, may I please call upon Dr. S. Altaf Hussain, Director, Lord's Institute of Technology and Engineering. Last but not the least, the moderator for this session, I would like to call upon Shri Shrikant Sinha, CEO Task. As introduced earlier, Mr. Shrikant Sinha is a collaborative CSR leader in tech for good space, aims to bridge digital divide and promote grassroots innovation. I would like the mics to please be given to the panel.
So very good afternoon to all the people who are brave enough to come after lunch and hope that they will be awake throughout the panel. So there are two rules that I would like to set. First is, please don't snore, disturb the person sleeping next to you. That's the first one. And the second rule is, do not snore loudly. Otherwise, what we are also talking will get disturbed. Session, but we'll try to make it as interactive, as lively as possible. System today are providing, while in engineering, a lot of screwdriver technology is being used, especially we get kits from abroad, we start putting it together and we say, this has been done in India. But when we talk about the definition of Atmanirbhar, which is self-reliant, we need to think differently, we need to do things differently. Let me ask you a simple question, right? Let's say I'm lying down on operating theater table with extreme stomach ache because I have got some stomach ulcers, right? And the doctor has been educated the way our engineers are being educated today across the country, right? I'm not talking about any college in Telangana. It could be outside also, because we have people from Telangana here. So from outside also, what will be the percentage of chance of survival that you will give me? How many people will say, I have more than 10% chances of survival? Can I see a show of hands? Anyone ready to give me more than 10%? One hand at the end. Anyone else? No. So imagine what we are doing today is, if a doctor doesn't get his hands on experience, he is no good as a doctor, right? And you yourself have shown that. So, Dr. Altaf Hussain, let me move to you, right? Given the fact that we are talking about Make in India, Aatmanirbhar Bharat, etc., how does this thing play out when you don't have core engineering people, you don't have people who are capable of doing things by the hands? How will you move ahead? Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. In fact, if you look at the title of the panel discussion, Atmanirbharata, self-empowered, self-reliant, self-manageable. If you analyze the experiences or the education system about 50, 60 years ago, there used to be one principal for a maximum of 600 or maximum 1000 students. There used to be focused learning. Morning, students were taught engineering concepts. Afternoon, they were taken to the field, sites and all. Same system, if you look at the medical education, morning they attend classes, afternoon they go to hospital. So what is missing in engineering education? I think that's the reason across India, only 25% of engineers are being employed, whereas 75% of the students graduating with their engineering but not finding jobs. The reason being, during their education, they are not enriching their skills. That is really missing in our academic education. Thanks to new education policy 2020, under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji and our Anil Sahasrabudhe ji, former AICT chairman, they have beautifully designed new education policy where student will have to undergo or get connected to the industry. That's how he or she get enriched. In fact, God has blessed all of us with all human being with two unique qualities: power of thinking and then power of speaking. These two, if it is imported, I see actually everyone speaks about communication skills. People refer to English language. In fact, communication is what you listen, how greatly you listen, how you pay respect to the opposite person, how you exhibit good body language, how you make your written communication, how prompt you respond to emails, how prompt you respond to WhatsApps and all. This is what is real communication. One of the speakers in the morning, he was telling, every month the technology is changing, but no matter if the technology changes, absolutely fine. But the candidate, if the candidate or if the employee has a good attitude, he or she will pick up. So the organization is very particular about enriching the good attitudes. If you look at the new education policy, it is derived from a famous sloka, which I am really touched. My teachers, when I was doing my NIT, BTech in NIT Warangal, they used to teach me, which is the prime source of deriving the new education policy. Acharyataha padamadanti, padam sishyaha swami, padam sadbrahmacharinobhya, padam kalakrame natsaha. Teacher explains the concept. The student, based on his or her fundamental knowledge, he or she will develop further. Very importantly, padam sadbrahmacharinobhya. The student is made to discuss, should be made to discuss and then speak out. In Bloom's taxonomy, they don't speak about speaking. In fact, if the student is given the opportunity every day at least 5 minutes, he will think and speak. In the process of speaking, he will realize, he or she will realize the mistakes. So that is what is really missing in our current curriculum. New education policy is beautifully designed, but it is fully not functional. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor and the Honorable Secretary, whereas the Vice Chancellor of Anurag University and other universities, to kindly see to it that the curriculum is bridged such that the students are directly connected. And one more sloka which really touches me: what we really speak should be receptive to the opposite person, should be eco-friendly. That is what is missing in current era. There are negative qualities you see. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Madha, Moha, Massa. This happens because of Satvika, Rajasa and Tamasa Ahara. Most of us, we don't know how much internal energy is required for us, how much energy is required for us. Surplus energy leads to deviation in our process. So the beautiful concept, the sloka goes like this: Keyura na vibhushayante, Purusham haram na chandrojwalam, na sthanam na kusumam na vilepanam, nalaja, Vani ekam samalam kshiyantani satatam, Vagbhushanam bhushanam. We may be having so many degrees, PhDs, lot of assets, lot of jewelry, but what it really matters is how best you communicate, how you speak, how you sensitize people. So I feel in this new education policy, bridging industry to academia is really missing. That's what actually we group of around 20 professionals, we have written a syllabi. There is a syllabi for your curricular activities. JNTU has a syllabi for curricular activities. And there is a syllabi for NCC, syllabi for NSS, but there is no syllabi for co-curricular activity, which is really important, where the knowledge transforms to wisdom. Civil engineer is there. Whatever he or she studies civil engineering, that should be applied to industry. That is really missing. I request I'll share the co-curricular syllabi, what we have designed by the consortium of 20 expert professionals. Most of them are from IIT and NIT background. as well as distinguished professors from JNTU as well. I'll share across, and I would request the Honorable Vice Chancellors here, Honorable Secretary here. Actually, the Secretary sir from SBTET, he says all his students are being placed. Why they are placed? Because they are technically sound. Most of them are toppers, and you need not have to give spoon feeding. Definitely they are enriched. So here, why only 25% of the students are being placed in engineering education? Because they are not taught the rest of skills. The kind of syllabus in polytechnics is so amazing that it is widely accepted. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for.
Thank you.
Academicians, government secretaries there, the experts of education they are there. I feel I feel marginalized, but nevertheless, industry is the core stakeholder. If you are talking of the whole ecosystem, you are talking of students, you are talking of the requirements of the industries, like what sir has mentioned about the gap between industry and organization. I would like to have a very small observation. The curriculum has to change. The students, they are also evolving. The teachers also need to evolve. This is very, very critical. When we recruit people, we have a kind of informal chat before taking the interview of the people. And we are not very particular about whether he is answering rightly or wrongly, to be very honest, with whatever experience I have. But the kind of confidence that he shows in the subject, that matters a lot. As far as power sector is concerned, I would like to mention that in a large organization like NTPC, with very strong roots in India's rural and semi-urban areas, we are very uniquely positioned to be the engines of both economic and human development. And the operational reach enables us. In a way, I am very proud to be a part of such an industry which we can directly touch lives. Because power is very, very crucial. And we can build the local competencies and foster sustainable community growth, which is very critical for nation building. And another statement I would like to make here, we are not an organization which is just generating electricity. It is also generating megawatts of human potential.
Wonderful.
By blending the world-class learning models internally and being responsible for CSR initiatives externally, we can fuel the next phase of India's rural and national resurgence. This I can vouch for this thing, and having heard these eminent panelists, I am very much hopeful. There is a lot of hope, and everybody is aware where is the gap. As far as my limited experience is concerned, I would like to highlight some of the gaps, which I think we can play a very big role in bridging that gap. If I am talking of the Aatmanirbhar Bharat, which is a very big and dream project of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, and power being a very critical sector as far as the policy is concerned, we must bridge this gap between education and industry needs. We must incorporate the emerging technologies. We must have the faculty immersion and the student internships. That also is very critical. And we can make engineering really attractive. Like you have mentioned about that particular operation theater. We have to also change our mindset, and we need to make engineering look very attractive. And there has to be an industry-academia partnership. We can't tell that the industry will come to academia or academia will go to the industry, but they have to meet somewhere. Either you meet in my residence or in his residence, but in somewhere we have to meet. And that the policymakers, the government has to play that role. And of course, there has to be a focus on developing the entrepreneurial abilities. It is not about getting a job, but it is about giving a job also. We need to create entrepreneurs. As far as we are concerned, like I have jotted down some points because I just came to know about this particular topic while I started from my office. So I have just jotted down few points. NTPC as such, we are making a very big transition. We are moving towards clean energy, smart grids, hydrogen, energy storage, and renewable integration. And today, energy sector is evolving faster than ever. So at NTPC, we are not just generating power, we are transitioning towards green hydrogen, smart grids, and battery storage and carbon capture technologies. However, we often see that the engineering curriculum is still focused. I may be wrong, but they are still focused heavily on traditional concepts, while industries like ours, we need new age skills. We need artificial intelligence, IoTs, energy analytics, and sustainable design and things like that. So this gap must be bridged and it needs urgent action. We believe co-creating curriculum modules, internships, and live projects with industry input can make a real difference, and we are always available for that.
Wonderful.
So currently, the curriculum doesn't adequately cover these emerging fields which I mentioned just now. So NTPC needs engineers skilled in energy transition, digital power plant management, and environmental compliance. These are the three broad areas which I would like to highlight. So we are always there for jointly designing the energy sector future skills courses with our collaboration, if academia is ready to accept that. And NTPC can sponsor real world challenges integrated into engineering programs like AI and integrated programs. Now coming to incorporating emerging technologies, the faculty members, here the role of the faculty members that can play a very pivotal role. If they experience live NTPC projects, they must come to the industries. From solar parks to digital command centers, they can bring real world energy transformation stories into the classrooms. Unless you visit, you cannot take classes.
Correct.
It will be only a theoretical exercise. So you must come to the industry, you must visit the plants. So similarly, the student internships must move beyond the observational visits to deep problem solving internships. Working on actual NTPC challenges, like NTPC is adopting AI for plant operations these days. We are also utilizing blockchain for energy trading. We are utilizing remote monitoring. We are utilizing carbon capture technologies. So what is the current education system is doing? I'm not aware whether they are actually focusing on these areas. So it needs specialized modules in smart energy systems, hydrogen technologies, so that we can incorporate faculty training also in our R&D. We can train faculties also. We have a huge R&D center in Noida, Greater Noida, and if faculties are really interested, universities, we can also collaborate with them so that they can get exposure to all these areas. Now coming to faculty immersion and student internships. So NTPC is already, we are running student internship programs, whatever the government of India is assigning, we are taking care of that. And industrial training programs at our Power Management Institute in Noida, NTPC School of Business. We have set up a very independent educational institution. We are promoters of that, but that is an independent institution. That is known as NTPC School of Business, where we provide them, that is a AICTE approved course, and we provide them certificate courses of this Bachelor in Power Engineering. So the faculty needs to be exposed to NTPC's next generation power plant models, and the students should intern not just in generation of power plants, but also in R&D labs, in renewable energy divisions, and in digital centers. So the key point here is faculty on-site immersion. And NTPC, we can develop modules of 2 to 4 weeks duration. Long-term durations also, internship also can be designed to suit to this requirement. Right. Now, I was mentioning about making engineering little more attractive. How to do that? So today the youth, they seek careers. They are not just stable, but meaningful and exciting. At NTPC, we offer them opportunities to work in India's largest power projects and futuristic hydrogen power plants, and even smart cities also. Of late, I have been receiving requests for internship in our some people, they are interested that I'll come to your office and kindly make sure that I get a certificate. That is not going to help. If you really want to learn power engineering, if you want to learn what is energy transition, you should visit the power plants. You should stay in the power plants. and the responsibility of bringing the students to power plants lies with the academics. So they must, and we, rather I am also a part of that, we must collectively present engineering as a profession that is building India's future, cleaner, greener and self-reliant.
Right.
So there are so many other points also I
Sure.
can touch upon
Thank
during
you.
the course of the
Sure.
discussion. But
Sure.
definitely a change is required in approach, in developing curriculum, in evolving our knowledge base. The faculties also have to evolve. Thank you.
True. No, thank you very much. I absolutely agree with you. Our faculty members, unfortunately, have come straight from the education institution to start teaching, and they need that industry exposure. So that is definitely there. Faculty immersion plays a key part, and of course, we at TASK are running a program called Project Drona, where along with HYSIA, the Hyderabad Software Enterprise Association, and Infosys Springboard are running this program, where our belief is that one Dronacharya can create thousands of Eklavyas and hundreds of Arjunas. And that's why it's important for us to ensure that they are also immersed into the industry itself. For lack of time, I will be able to ask probably 2 questions. So in case anyone has got questions, I will take both the questions together and you can introduce yourself and address the question to whichever panelists you want to. Can we have some mics over there, please, into the room? Thank you.
Sir, today students are coming to engineering. They're all +2 students without an idea about what type of engineering gives better career options, career choices. So they're joining. The parents and students both are not aware about the future because they are not experienced the engineering background. What I suggest, because vice chancellors are there here today, like MBBS medicine, okay? Engineering first 2 years or 3 years should be common. Last year could be specialization. Whether they want to become electrical engineer, electronics engineer, mechanical engineering, or they want to become a life science engineer or a chemical engineer. So 2 years common or 2 years specialization or 3 years common, 1 year specialization. I think this has to be this idea should be brought to the regulators and policymakers and the MHRD. I think that will solve many problems because I'm seeing students joining because they want to enter that institution, not
Sure.
for engineering.
Sure.
CBIT college है, हम अंदर आना है बस उतने ही. बाद में realize कर रहे हैं उन लोग, sir, why did you join this branch? So I think let them join without any branch specification in the first year. Second year let it be common. Third year it can be common or with some specializations. Fourth year totally specialization in that particular core branch. Then they get realization.
Sure.
So I think this is one thought I want to share with the educators here.
Sure. Anyone else? There's a hand over there.
Sir, I am Ram Mohan Danive. My question or concerns is that teachers right from high school to university should double up in addition to teaching as a mentor throughout the life of the student. I think this is not happening. In the school system earlier, even now, there is a concept like subject teachers and one single class teacher for the entire class in the form of a mentor. So this should be continuously there. It is not lacking. And one of the sir, he recited 2 shlokas. One of them stands for 25% of education should be by the student himself being very studious in learning. That is not happening. Students accept the mouth feeding. This should not be encouraged. So this is my
Sure.
concern, share of thought,
Sure.
question,
Sure.
whatever you take. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I don't need comments. I want questions, please. Sure. Yeah, quick.
Good afternoon, sirs. My name is George. I am from Tribal Welfare Residential Schools and Ekalapya Model Residential Schools. We meet thousands of graduated engineers from engineering college since all the vice chancellors here. When we talk to them, we find that their communication skills is very much below the bottom line. So what are we doing in the colleges, especially engineering colleges? You talk about artificial intelligence, robotics, and all these things. And communication skills is one of the 21st century skills. We are supposed to do something about it.
Sure.
So what can we do? I mean, are we doing something in the colleges?
Sure. Sure. So 3 questions, one over there where they said that, first generation learners, what can be done? How do we ensure that our students are able to understand about engineering? And can we do a thing where more like a typical, 4 years of the same subject, have core subjects which are there, then common subjects, and then specialization. So that was first question. The second question, of course, is about in schools, you have one class teacher and then subject teachers. Can a similar concept be also used for collegiate education? And third question, of course, was over there that what are we doing for ensuring communication and personality development skills? So anyone would like to go for it? Sir, would you like to try the specialization question that why can't we change the education, engineering education with common subjects and then specialization?
I think I joined engineering in 1973 and finished in 1978. But 5 years prior to that, the first 2 years were common. And based on your performance in the 2 years, you were allotted a branch. So you had all the subjects, and then, based on your performance, you got either, I don't think there was computer science then. There was only ECE, mechanical, electrical, things like that. But when week 73 batch, first entrance batch, Usmania University, Jagan Mohan Reddy, Justice was the vice chair. We had branch allotment. So we were pigeonholed into a department. So even whether you liked it or not, you could downgrade but not upgrade. I mean,
Right.
those days there was a class system. Suppose you were in mechanical, you could go to civil or electrical. Sorry if I'm hurting the feeling of some people. But you could downgrade, but you cannot upgrade. The ultimate was EC, electronics. But I don't know whether that is possible. I think that should be done because you have that credit system. And if you take a few credits of another branch, that dual degree and all that should be possible, I think. That will be good. In fact, private universities are probably doing that. But government universities, the AICT, the role position and all that. So I think that will be good, I think.
Sure. Would you like to add something?
Sure. I'm really thankful to NLN Reddy sir. He is the placement director for CBT. Very good input, sir. In fact, if first 2 years are common, that would really enrich all fundamental engineering concepts. And final year, third and final year, student can concentrate on core engineering or respective discipline. I'd like to really give some inputs about new education policy. There is an option called multiple entry, multiple exit, but that is not being implemented. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor here, sir, kindly see to it that multiple entry, multiple exit is really implemented so that the student, by the time when he or she completes first year or second year, she gets some kind of enlightenment. And then probably he or she will try to think about other lucrative branches or lucrative areas, not branches. So secondly, our sir said actually engineering faculty members must have immersion, sir. I would request that faculty must have immersion in the industry, maybe once in a week, in a month's time. That will really give proper knowledge to him. And lastly, sir said about communication skills. Definitely it is very much required. That is possible by incorporating syllabus called, as I mentioned, co-curricular syllabi, or if it is implementable, or the students, actually, I tell you, sir, IIT Bombay professor, placement director, he gave 20 t-shirts. I remember 20 years ago, and he asked all 20 to be sold off. And you should not incur from your money. This is to propel your communication skills. So that is how there should be some practical approach where the student can approach, especially the body language, presentation. English is secondary. Thank you so much.
Surely. I think, sir, please add.
Yeah, while I was a graduate student in the US, I noticed that a lot of importance is given to technical writing. How do you write in English? We have a British colonial legacy. So when we are asked to write any lab report or any report, we try to use bombastic, high-sounding words just to impress the person whom we are writing it. In US, it's exactly the opposite. What they say is, they say, keep it simple and sweet. No ambiguity. Use simple language, and any person should be able to infer without any ambiguity in the writing. And don't use bombastic language. That's a British legacy. In America, we don't like it. So, and technical writing is a course at the PhD level. They don't say English writing, they say technical writing. And the same, I was a lab demonstrator for thermal fluid sciences for 4-5 years. People in India, by and large, 85%, don't know how to write a lab report because they write something with aim, apparatus, nicely labeled. But let us say the refractive index of glass is a high school experiment. So remember, it is 1.4. That's a textbook. Now they say the refractive index of the glass is 1.4, and that's the end of the thing. But they don't justify what you have got. The result should be backed up by a discussion and by a conclusion. That is sadly missing in the entire JNTU system. In fact, I want to have a video and put that in the net. How to write a proper lab report, and if it is an experimental work, they should give the uncertainty analysis. Suppose you found the frequency of the power should be, we say, 50 hertz.
Right.
But never it is 50. There will be fluctuation, there will be overload. So you should tell 50 plus or minus what. And the measurement you are doing is with a crude equipment, not a sophisticated one. So there's a limitation of the equipment because it's a college lab.
Right.
So what is the uncertainty of the measurement? You have to qualify. Then you have understood the lab. Otherwise you have not. Thank you.
Thank you.
If
Thank
I can
you.
add a simple point. From the
Just
point
30
of view
seconds.
of,
No, 30 seconds you can.
so what I wanted, I agree to whatever they have told. From the industry perspective, whenever any candidate comes to us, we don't expect that he will know everything, but he must have certain basic knowledge and the willing to learn approach. And of course, what he has mentioned, the soft skills, of course, we have a very rigorous induction program. And once you pass through that program, you will come to know what is what. But you must have the basic knowledge and a attitude to learn. You should open yourself whenever you are joining an industry. Nothing, it's not out of the world. It's all, everything, whatever you have read.
Sure.
But the practical aspect of it, you must willing to learn. You must willing to apply yourself. And at the same time, there has to be a thorough, fundamentals have to be very, very clear.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, panelists, for such an wonderful discussion. It was a pleasure for me to orchestrate this discussion. Would like to thank the IndiGlobal team for inviting me to orchestrate this panel. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks to the panel for sharing deep insights on how to make academic streams more attractive for students. Your thoughtful discussion brought valuable perspective to the future of education. Thank you so much. And now, for the token of appreciation, I would like to call forward Shrikant Sinha, CEO, tasked to please come forward to give away the mementos to our panelists.
IndiGlobal Media Network, taking innovation, collaboration and growth to the forefront.